Hi everyone, welcome to Casual Watch Talk Sunday Social. Joined by the panel today. Thank you anyone who just came over from Mad Watch Collector as well. So Russell, give us a nice shout out on his live stream, which was just before this. He says he might do one next week. So if you're not subscribed to him, subscribe over there. Well, should we do a wristwatch check before we kick this off? Mark, do you wanna kick us off?
Yep. Well, since the weather has actually cooperated, I have a G-Shock GW2310. It's an old, tough solar G-Shock, but it's your zombie apocalypse watch. It's all the watch you need. And I'd much rather this get hit on concrete slabs and bricks and stuff than anything with the bracelet that might get scratched, to be fair. But in the spirit of Sunday, if we're going to be talking bracelets, here's a Stratton with a very nice metal rally bracelet. Unusual nice. And surprisingly comfortable.
Yeah, nice.
Cool. Thanks, Mark. And Steve, welcome back. Triumphant return. What are you wearing?
Yeah, since the theme today was bracelets, I figured I would pick out something a little bit unusual. So this is, it's a little bit hard to see, but this is the Zodiac Olympus reissue that kind of hung around for, I don't know, a few months and then kind of disappeared. And I've got it on the Forstner aftermarket ladder bracelet. So yeah.
Nice.
Love a ladder bracelet. I think they're great. Yeah. Big fan.
Yeah, I actually recently did a Forstner review as well, so maybe we can talk about that. But Thomas, what are you wearing?
I've got a 1950s Omega.
Nice.
On a beads of rice bracelet, so sticking with the theme as well. And yeah, it's a nice vintage piece.
Awesome. Cool. And then I'm wearing my Bremont, which I actually have put on the bracelet, and I put it back on the bracelet because I'm nearly finished the review of it. But the bracelet on this is so chunky versus the watch. It doesn't taper at all. So that heavily in the review. So before we kick this off, everyone, we planned on doing a show about watch bracelets, our favorite and our worst ones. Which we still will do, but if we're not sure that will drag out the full hour or how exciting we can necessarily make it. So if you've got some questions, doesn't have to be bracelet related, let us know and we'll answer. We'll do some Q&A live because we haven't done a Q&A show for ages. Where we used to do one on a Tuesday, but then life got in the way. So let us know if you've got any like general watch questions, and we will love to answer them. Oh, Bobby Legs is in the house. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Bobby, if you feel free to jump on. I know you probably got kids stuff to do, but Junior, welcome. Bill, yeah, nice to see Steve on the panel. And then we've got Brassic Time. Yeah, Robert Wood. Hello.
Howdy, Robert.
Hello. And then we've got Kevin in the house. Good afternoon, Kevin. And then
stalwart view of all the streams is Kevin.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let's just have a look here. Yeah, we've got a couple of people coming in. Oh, Brian's joining us. Hello, Brian. I see you. Colin. God, everyone's coming in. Chris, I see you. Okay. So let's actually start off with the bracelet discussion, shall we? In fact, look, why don't we talk about, maybe we'll do our favorite bracelets that and then we can just sort of conversate from there. The conversation can flow from there.
Yeah, well, I got reading a Fratello article about Piaget watches, about vintage Piaget watches, and how you can pick them up, and how they're going to be classics of the future, and all of them were gold, and they had lots of really nice bracelets. They had bark bracelets, what are called brick bracelets, basket weave bracelets. and all these amazing different gold bracelets are really nice. And it got me thinking about the idea, and of bracelets, and just some of the amazing ones that are out there. The Serica bong clip bracelet, the ladder bracelet like you got, Steve, that I really like on the Zenith A384. Flat link bracelets. Here's this article from
Yeah.
on the Piaget's, and if you just go down a bit further, you see some of that bark
Yeah.
one. I mean,
That's amazing.
not for everyone at all, but just as a bracelet, as an integrated bracelet.
Yeah.
There's a brick bracelet. And I mean, Patek released in Watches and Wonders. They released on the Golden Ellipse. There's a basket weave one. They released the Golden Ellipse with a gold sort of basket weave style bracelet, braided bracelet, which was one of my favorite Patek releases of the show because of all those horrible denim straps and things.
Yeah.
They released on the Nautilus and on the
but
other
Tom,
watches.
you have a tweed strap. I don't think a denim strap is too much of a stretch.
That
Terrible tweed.
On the Houghton G-Shock. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's definitely good. I mean, okay. Well, let's think about. So that article sort of inspired you, Thomas. But do you have out of all the watches you've owned, do you have one favorite bracelet or maybe a couple of favorite ones that you love?
Beads of rice. I find amazingly comfortable.
Yeah.
I've got, Doxa use it on their sub 300. This is 1950s, and it hugs the wrist so comfortably. It's one of my favorites. I've got Rolex Jubilee bracelet on my Datejust. That's a really comfortable one. But the Beads of Rice beats it, I think. One I despise is the Omega Seamaster Professional 300 5-link bracelet, which I really hate that. I hate that. I know it's meant to be really, really comfortable, but it's just I just don't like the look of it at all. Aesthetically, it's not for me. I love ladder bracelets. I've got a Zenith A384, and like Steve's showed us on his I've forgotten which watch it was now, Steve. Sorry, Zodiac. Yeah. I love ladder bracelets, but they seem. I don't know whether the one I've tried a vintage one on a Zenith A384, and it wasn't sturdy enough. It didn't have that. It was a bit wobbly. I don't know whether they're sturdy enough to. They look great, but I don't know whether the links are sturdy enough the pins are sturdy enough to hold the bracelet in place. Really, I haven't had much experience with them. I don't know what your experience is, Steve.
I mean, this one that I have is pretty solid. I've never owned an original ladder bracelet before, so I'll just show it again. I collect a lot of vintage watches, and so I always try, if I can, to find vintage bracelets as well. And especially like you mentioned bong clip earlier, like to me, those feel almost like paper clips holding onto your wrist. And to me, I don't feel comfortable wearing one because I think it's a little bit too flimsy. But surprisingly, these reissues I think are pretty good, and it feels very solid. And especially for me, I'm in Texas. It's very hot here, and so having ventilation on a bracelet, especially when it's summer, when it's hot outside, like you want something that gives you a little bit of ventilation under the bracelet. And this is such a weird design already. I thought, why not just make it weirder and put the ladder design on there? So I do also have a Zenith El Primero, but I have that one on a leather strap instead. So I just wanted to try out this bracelet. And I think Forstner, they make fantastic bracelets as well. So if anyone out there is thinking about buying one either for their modern watch or for a vintage watch, they're a really great brand.
Yeah, I reviewed a couple of Forstners lately, so recently, so I'll have to put the contains product promotion on the top of the live stream there. Forstner are like the king of the. There we go. Oh, this is the Seamaster.
Seamaster Professional 5-link. You're on mute, Mark.
Oh no,
you muted, Mark.
Still on mute. I can't unmute you.
No, my neighbor was just riding in on his Harley, so I couldn't even hear you guys talk. So yes, this is the nothing wrong with perfectly comfortable, very elegant Omega 300 professional bracelet. Doesn't need to taper, blah blah. But we'll make the sign of the cross to Thomas with this one, I think.
You know what? I actually
Burnett's away.
You know what? I actually don't disagree with Thomas on this one, because that's what put me off buying a Seamaster 300 was that bracelet, because for some reason I don't think it looks like a luxury watch bracelet. The finish of it, it looks like it perhaps. I'm on a.
You're all on shaky ground.
I'm on shaky ground. I'm on thin ice, but I don't think it. I think the head of the watch looks better than the bracelet that goes with it. To be quite honest, on a Seamaster 300, because I looked at that green one and I'm sure it's all brushed, but when I looked at it, it looks like the horns aren't like, they're not chamfered or anything. They're more like a more brutalist kind of design, I think. But anyway. Okay, let's see.
I think bracelets can really make watches as well. I mean, you've got things like the Streamliner, the Moser Streamliner. That bracelet makes the watch.
Yes.
It wouldn't be the Streamliner without that bracelet. You got the Vacheron 222. I think that watch wouldn't be the same without that bracelet. And the Royal Oak. The Royal Oak. I mean, that watch is defined by its shape of the watch and the bracelet. It's meant to be. There's people say it's one of the most comfortable bracelets they've won. Personally, for me, the most comfortable bracelet I've ever tried was on a Vacheron Overseas, and
okay.
I tried that, and I found that to be the most comfortable bracelet I've tried of any watch so far.
I think Rolex is in like a different whole different ball game. I said that on my recent Fears review. I said that they're almost like an 11 out of 10. But this one, Thomas, this is the Vacheron bracelet that you liked.
Yeah, the Vacheron. That's the one. Yeah, the Vacheron Overseas bracelet, and it's just so comfortable with the Maltese cross on it, and it's just fits the wrist, and it's almost as if you can't feel it. You can't feel the links on the wrist. It's like it's just suspended on you. It's just suspended on your wrist without actually feeling any links. It's just
okay, and it's a more or less integrated, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an integrated bracelet. Yeah. I mean, I love flat link bracelets as well, like the Ed White and the That's
let's have a look then. Let's have a look through some of the comments that have come through here. The Gorn, who is. I'm yet to have a positive comment on one of my videos from the Gorn. He's normally the seagull that flies in and poops over everything in my comment section. So maybe this is a positive one. Christopher Ward are the worst. Oh, so no, it's not. Christopher Ward are the worst for sending the wrong bracelet to what the customer ordered. I have never heard that. I know I'm a Christopher Ward shill here on the channel, but I've never heard them sending a wrong bracelet.
It's of the 20 or so Christopher Wards I've owned. I don't think I've ever. No, in fact, I have never had them send either the wrong bracelet or the wrong strap.
No.
I mean,
obviously, it has happened. So that's but I feel like that's rare because normally the bracelet they only have like 3 bracelets. They have 2: the consort and the beta bracelet,
and the integrated one for the 12.
Yeah. So there's. I mean, how they? I don't know how they could. How could they send the wrong bracelet?
And I think the beta, the 3-link, and the consort are at different prices too. So, don't know. I mean, no doubt it can happen. Really nice but
one, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just see. Got another question. So, John said it's NATO's. We're not talking straps. We're talking bracelets, John.
Somebody, I think that was Von Krul who set him up for that. Or Boracic time.
Von Krul afterwards said, "I'm a NATO hater. Got to have a watch sitting directly on my wrist."
He's my hero. I feel exactly the same way.
We love you, Von Krul. We love you.
Diz says, "My top bracelets in terms of comfort are the SKX Jubilee. That is a good one. Doxa Beads of Rice, which is what we were saying. Planet Ocean, 1st gen. Pelagos, and then the Rolex Oyster." Yeah.
Interesting. That's just from personal experience. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So and then John says the consort. Yeah. And then Diz says again another plus for the Forstner.
I must admit, in this company, I'm probably the least picky. I do like bracelets. And I don't particularly care so long as they're properly adjusted to my wrist. I don't find the design actually makes any difference so long as they're the right length for my wrist and the watch. As I've, since I go out and do photography in the summer, I typically wear a bracelet because of the amount of sunscreen that's flying around, and sunscreen on a leather strap is just a bad experience for everybody concerned. But if you've got a bracelet that's properly adjusted, it can be comfortable from 54 Fahrenheit in the morning to 86 to 90 Fahrenheit in the afternoon. So, 12 centigrade to 35. And if a watch can be comfortable in those conditions on a bracelet, I don't care what the design is. To me, it's a matter of, have you got it adjusted properly for your wrist? And yes, in this company, since I don't have the Rolex or the Rolex fixation, I find that the Seamaster bracelet's perfectly comfortable. Christopher Ward bracelets are perfectly comfortable. It's not the design, it's the fit, except for the Bulgari Octo Finissimo in titanium. And I don't have the hairiest wrists, but that bracelet finds hair I don't have, snips it with malice. So, if a bracelet's not going to cut the hairs on your wrist, I don't know that the design then becomes an aesthetic, because if it's adjusted properly, it doesn't matter.
I don't think that's right. Like. Sorry. I mean, I also would like to offer a counter argument to that.
I was okay with that's not right, but okay.
Yeah.
I clearly have low standards here because I like the Seamaster bracelet.
Well, I'll tell you though. I mean, I reviewed that marathon bracelet, and that was awful. That marathon bracelet was awful. The way that they designed that. Now, I might have had one off. I had a couple of commenters, including somebody the other week, who said that theirs was perfectly fine. So maybe I got a bad one. But I thought that maybe that was also because it's like $330. So maybe that was like set off a negative for me. But I think there is definitely, I think some bracelets can be uncomfortable. I mean,
are we confusing bracelet and clasp? I mean, here's a titanium Citizen bracelet with a pressed clasp. And this, I think, is a weird 5-link. It's an old Solar, but that's perfectly comfortable. Citizen ProMaster that's staring at me. Again, press clasp, cheap stainless steel bracelet. Still perfectly comfortable.
Yeah. So let's just go. So
Mark, how do you find you like to wear bracelets? You say you like ones that can vary in from cold weather to hot weather. I mean, do you wear your bracelet loose or do you wear it really tight?
When I get the bracelet sized, I have it sized loose because I know I tend to find when I'm in somewhere having a bracelet sized, my wrist is at its smallest. But so typically, there's probably a finger. So yeah, I can get my finger in the, and I'm at home in the aircon. So this is probably as loose as it will be, but it'll go up and down the arm a little bit. Doesn't matter. But if I know I'm in trouble, and I've had to go back to places and say put the half link back in because I've had it sized tight, and then realized when I go to the office it must be the stress of work that my wrist is at its largest. So that's my
I have that problem.
So something like a Milanese bracelet might not work for you, which is quite sort of flexible and meant to be a bit
I've never
tighter.
tried one. I mean the Mido that I was wearing last week, that's got little micro adjust, and it's a spring loaded, or seems to be a spring loaded micro adjust. So on that one, I know the strap is too tight, but you push a couple of buttons and the micro adjust comes out a couple, 2 or 3 millimeters, and it's perfectly comfortable. So that's the other clue is it's not just the bracelet, it's the clasp.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think micro adjust on a clasp is. I mean, some other people have mentioned the Citizen, and I review a lot of Citizen watches, and I think that's the only criticism I have with titanium Citizen watches is that pressed clasp, because it doesn't. The rest of the bracelets are usually quite well finished, whereas the clasp seems to be an afterthought on some of those. I'm not a fan of the pressed clasp.
It depends on where you are in the Citizen range, though, doesn't it? If you look at the Citizen Chronomasters that have the consort type, that butterfly clasp. So it does depend. Those are on titanium bracelets. It depends where you are in the range.
That's not your meat of your Citizen buyers, is it? I mean, that's like the super premium, isn't it? The ones. I mean, I even had a press clasp on the one that was the $800 moon phase, atomic moon phase. So they do put that press clasp on a lot of their titanium watches,
and it doesn't have a lot of micro adjust. That's probably why this particular one I have sized very loose, because I knew damn well I was never going to adjust it. Not when there's only 2 holes of micro adjust. So but design wise, for me it's fit, and if you can get it to fit, I don't know that the style of the bracelet matters.
They do make a good titanium clasp Citizen, and it's on the that one that had the JDM one, the land one, where it looked like a field watch, but their ratcheted clasp is quite good. And that had the ratcheted clasp on. That is quite good. But so let's just have a look here. So John says, yeah, the coffin bracelet on his 66 Accutron is comfy, but the links tend to fall off. Are super expensive to replace. Yeah, so I actually sourced one of these links for John. They are in a coffin shape. It's really weird the way they do it. Mark says somebody needs to tell Longines that they lose sales to Tudor due to the difference in bracelet quality.
Oh, interesting.
On that one.
Yeah, well, Tudor bracelets are good. I mean, they're coming from that Oyster Rolex stable, so I presume.
And their Jubilee is good.
They're good. I mean, going back to what Mark was saying about micro adjustments. I mean, Grand Seiko get a lot of bashing about their bracelets, don't they? And a lot of people say that I wouldn't buy a Grand Seiko because of the bracelet. And I was interesting to read recently that the head of Grand Seiko said that micro adjustments are coming in the future, in the near future. So micro adjustments. You muted again, Mark.
I think that's a market push, isn't it? Pete McConville, who's not on here but is a famous bracelet hater, as Michael points out, he said, when he was talking to Grand Seiko, they say that the bracelet should be as loose as this one is on me, so you don't need the micro adjust. If you adjust the bracelet properly, you don't need it. Now, that's attributable only to Pete, but I suspect that if Grand Seiko are bringing micro adjust and quick release, they're getting complaints from their customers to say, you are, because you can have micro. In fact, you should have on any watch with a bracelet less than $1,000, quick release, micro adjust, and screws.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, how dare you charge $7,000 for a watch, because you're pissing off the customer, because your user experience, and your user experience is the fit and comfort of the watch and adjustability of the watch if you do it yourself. How dare you at $7,000 to $10,000 or $5,000 not provide quick release, screw adjust, and micro adjust? How dare you? Because
I agree.
You can do it on a titanium watch for $500. Why can't Grand Seiko? It's the first thing you slap them with.
Yeah, that Fears that I just reviewed, Nicholas has done a great job. All of those, it's thin, screw links, micro adjust on the clasp, and quick release spring bars.
But it's your minimum to play now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I totally agree with you.
The Seamaster I have here, my blue Ref 212, I didn't wear it for a couple of years because I couldn't get it to fit. And in the end, I gave up and spent the money on the micro adjust clasp, and voila, it now fits and it's comfortable, and I wear it.
Right.
I'm not going to wear a watch that's not comfortable.
Yeah. Cool. Let's just get, great point, Mark. Let's go to Painter. I don't know how to say that. Agree with Sam. Sorry.
Painter Co
says, agree with Sam. The biggest problem with the Seamaster bracelet is not its lack of taper, but its dated design. Though it could use a 2mm taper.
I believe we've had hints from a certain Scotsman who appears on this channel that the taper is coming, but I don't know whether that's coming this year or next year.
Yeah. And Brian says, Rolex Jubilee with the Easy Link is my favorite. I had the VC and it was not as nice. There we go. Colin says, I love my Oyster on my BLNR GMT, but the Hublot Big Bang Rubber is so comfortable. Interesting. Yeah, I like the Rolex bracelets. And then Bobby says, Vacheron, AP Royal Oak, then Moser Streamliner, then the 577 Rolex SS, and then the Omega New Speedy bracelet, and then the Chapek bracelet, based on my experience with all these watches over time. Okay.
So saying Vacheron's better than AP, and then the Streamliner.
Yeah.
I must admit, I've tried the Omega Speedy bracelet for a few minutes, and I'm not sure yet. It feels frail. I'm sure it's strong enough, but the taper, coming from the Seamaster, the taper's a bit extreme for my taste.
Yeah, sorry, the 577. Well, I said Rolex, but it's of course it's the what's the name? It's the Patek.
I was just going to say the taper on it. I mean, gives it more of a vintage feel, right? I mean, this is one of the big differences between what we consider more modern designs and more vintage designs, is that vintage designs tend to have a very strong taper. So if it's a 19mm lug width, I'll have a 16mm clasp, or sometimes even 14mm. I go the other direction. I like having a really strong taper, and I actually just want to share one of my favorite bracelets of all time. This watch is from the late 1950s. This is a Longines Conquest, and this bracelet is called the Nautilus. And I think one of the cool things about it, so it kind of looks like a beads of rice, but one of the cool things about it is that it does have a micro adjust on the back, so you can ratchet out
Oh, that's cool.
The bracelet to fit, and then you can also pop it out as well, and you can do it on the fly. So I think that's a really fantastic design. I wish someone made a modern version of this because, in my view, and someone mentioned that the Longines bracelets being inferior to Tudor. I mean, this is like an incredible design that they came out with 50, 60 years ago, and they've never revived it. And I don't understand that because it's such a cool looking design, and it's totally contemporary in its construction.
And it also looks like they've kept that clasp very, very thin, which is criticism, justifiable criticism. A lot of micro adjust clasps is that they're long and they're thick. So, if you are going to complain about the comfort, a lot of people aren't used to having that very long, fixed, thick clasp on the back of their wrist. You assume that's where the watch should be, that's where the weight should be. So I can see that that's a valid criticism of clasp design, and I would agree that's a valid criticism of clasp design.
Okay, so let's keep we've got loads of people commenting. It's awesome. So Russell, thank you, Russell. Great live stream previous to ours. So thank you for joining us. So it says having the 2021 Speedy has completely changed my mind on owning one. Previously reviewed the 2020 model with the Seamaster like bracelet, made the watch look big. What do we think on that one?
So went for the 5-link on the Speedy.
Yeah, so he's got the 2021 Speedy, and he's completely changed his mind on owning one. Previously reviewed the 2020 model with the Seamaster like bracelet. Yeah, because they did have similar bracelets for a long time, didn't they? At definitely the thicker clasp.
I think. Sorry, Steve. Go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I think the taper on the new 3861 is lovely. I think I don't know what it is about tapering, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't know what the rest of the panel think. Whether
I think it's
tapering is a necessity in bracelets these days as a modern watch.
Yeah, I mean, this needs a taper. This flipping Braymont. I mean, it's really super super chunky all the way down, and it doesn't really complement the watch that well. Look at the clasp is like a half milled. It looks like it's a milling, as if it was like a blank that they've only half milled this flat bit here, but yeah, I think a cheeky taper is good. Not too aggressive though. Some of them are quite aggressive, aren't they?
I've tried on the Speedmaster Professional bracelet a couple of times, but I've never worn it for long enough or had it properly adjusted to say, is it a good idea or a bad idea? So I'm going to keep an open mind, but except Russell's, if you've worn it for a few days, then you've got a much better idea of an opinion on that than I do. I just don't have a Speedmaster Professional anyway. So. Okay. Although the white is calling me.
The white's beautiful.
Oh, somebody's won the bracelet bingo. I'm just noticing it here. Here we are. Peter, has anyone discussed the Uncle Seiko razor wire strap? This is my absolute favorite bracelet. It's epic, this bracelet. I've had it in all the different sizes. I've had it on the turtle. Steve, you've had one of these as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I have two. I have, and as you know, Sam, this is based off of a historic design. So the company that made them was called Motoman, and it's called a bike chain. And so, like, this was a Japanese aftermarket bracelet manufacturer back in the 1970s who came out with this design, and then Larry at Uncle Seiko basically reissued it, which is great. Yeah. My only complaint is that they don't have them in smaller sizes. I wish they had them in like 18 and 19 mil. Because I agree. It's having all those little individual bracelet pieces. While it makes it a total pain in the ass to change out links, it's so
like a metal puzzle.
It is, but it makes it incredibly, flexible. Just like with the beads of rice, kind of the same deal. Yeah, super comfortable to wear.
Yeah, this is what I've had. I've worn it on loads of different watches. In fact, I had the 20 mil, but I've given it to my sister's boyfriend because he as soon as he saw it, he tried it on a Seiko and it looked awesome on it. So that was the one that I had. But I've had multiple different versions. Yeah. So Peter, yeah, you've won the. Not that we were doing a competition and there's no prize, but you've won you've won my respect. Which is,
I mean that reminds me of this shark mesh bracelet that comes on the Plo Prof, the Omega Plo Prof, and I've got a baby Plo Prof, and that shark mesh bracelet is very comfortable, a bit like a Milanese strap, but more basket weave, like we saw.
Yeah.
But it's again, it's one of those straps which you need to wear quite tightly on the wrist, otherwise it slips around. It's a very smooth feeling, very smooth on the wrist, but it can slip around unless it's very tight on the wrist. So there's no sort of wearing it loose. I mean, I presume if you're wearing it over a wetsuit, it's no problem. It's the ideal strap, but
yeah, I like shark mesh ones, but they're hard to find a good one, aren't they? Sometimes the cheaper they are, the better. The more flexible they are. Sometimes they're quite hard to. Sometimes they can be quite heavy, aren't they? The Breitling ones are a bit more of a
Very
chunk,
heavy.
aren't they? And the one on the Squale is a bit more of a rigid. There's not many like super loose ones. Let's have a look here. We've got. Let's have a look. So actually, Rick says Tudor Ranger bracelet on my BB58 blue is my favorite. Let's have a look here. Printico says the best bracelet I've worn is the IWC 5-link bracelet, easy exchange system, which must be their brand name, perhaps. Awesome micro adjust system and toolless sizing. I'm not sure I know that one. Does anybody else know that one?
No.
Let's have a look. I'm just going to type in IWC 5-link bracelet.
I'm willing to bet.
Yeah, it's the engineer. What is that? What they call the engineer?
On the engineer.
Is it the engineer bracelet? Maybe it's this one. This one, I think.
The 5-link that comes on the pilot watch, right? Yeah.
But I wonder what he says about toolless sizing. I wonder if he means it's a micro adjust or whether you can actually. You might not be able to swap the links out. I don't think you swap the links out. Maybe it just needs toolless. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Russell saying currently have the CWC Lander 36. The bracelet is fantastic. Yeah.
I'll also put in a good word for Jody and his bracelets for what you get and for what you pay. His bracelets are excellent too.
For the Erebus ones,
yeah. I personally find the quick adjust a bit awkward, but that appears to be me, as nobody else does. I'm just too clumsy for it, I think.
Is that an H-link bracelet then, or is that like a oyster style bracelet?
He's got a couple of different designs, but I think they're mostly H-link.
Right.
I don't know what he's got on his new one.
I found H-link really comfortable type bracelets. So yeah.
But here's a question for the panel and the people in the comments. Is there anybody who sits very firmly on the bracelet side or the strap side? If you're buying a watch, the first time you see it, the strap or the bracelet, I think, is part of the aesthetic of the watch, and I tend to buy on that aesthetic. So I'm not a big changer of straps and bracelets. And it's a shame Pete's not here because he'd be going strap.
He'd be going rubber strap, wouldn't he? Yeah.
And I'm firmly in the bracelet camp. But does anybody else think that the initial buying decision is bracelet or strap, and how does that affect your buying decision? Because I know I'm more likely to buy something on a strap, on a bracelet.
Yeah,
I
I think the sort of written rule or the hidden rule is buy on the bracelet, then get the strap, because you
Well, that's
save more money. You save
you
more
certainly
money,
save
isn't
money.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it on the bracelet. I bought this Braymon. I wish actually I'd got it. They didn't have it on the rubber, but I feel like I wish that I did have it on the rubber, because I think the rubber is probably a better buying decision than this. But just because of the way that this wears versus the rubber. But yeah, I say that, like, buy it on the bracelet if you can. And then because you can usually easily it's funny, isn't it, that a lot of people who aren't like watch nerds like us, I find when I'm recommending watches to, like, people, oh, what watch do you like, that the bracelet factors in a lot more in people's decisions. I don't think people who are like the normies don't realize that the strap is actually super easy to swap out. It actually really like the color of the strap or something like that really impacts the buying decision of the watch. I don't know if you ever found that, like
I've
think you're.
so Steve, on you go.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I think you're totally right, Sam. That most probably 95%, 99% probably buy based off of that. And I think I probably fall in the same boat as everyone else in the fact that, like, if there's a nice bracelet that's included, I will normally go with the bracelet option. Like Zen is a pretty good example of like a brand where you don't want to buy the watch without the bracelet, because buying it without the bracelet is significantly more expensive than buying it with the bracelet. So yeah, I feel like if you generally follow that rule of thumb, it's a lot better, and you can put a strap on it as you desire. But I don't know. I kind of go back and forth sometimes too. Like there are like I mentioned that Zenith that I have, El Primero. It came with the bracelet, but I bought it without the bracelet because I wasn't a big fan of it. And it was one of the it is one of the ones with the butterfly clasp on it, and didn't have any micro adjust. And I was just looking at it and thinking, well, to be honest, I would like to have the bracelet, but am I really going to enjoy wearing it that much if I can't get the right adjustment or the right fit to it? So I opted not to buy it.
I'm exactly with you on that, Steve. I bought my Zenith A384 on the strap, and it was about the watch, not about the bracelet. It was all about the watch and not the bracelet. And the strap is it's great on the strap. I love it on the strap more than I would on the bracelet. I mean, we're talking about the ladder bracelet, which is beautiful, and but it's another £1,000. And would I buy the ladder bracelet? I don't really know, but because I love it on the strap so much, it's great.
yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. So, we've got some more questions. JB says, a Citizen, I think Rado do on the fly on the wrist adjustment mechanism. Says maybe Mido, not Rado. Yeah, so Bill's saying some extremely tapered bracelets he doesn't like. Von Krull says, I've eyed up the razor wire bracelet. Looks cool, probably not easy to clean. Do you know what? This actually, does anybody else own an ultrasonic cleaner, jewelry cleaner? That's what I
No.
use. Yeah.
Yeah, worth its weight in gold.
Oh,
They're amazing. They're so good.
You can get them on
Everyone on
eBay
here
for
needs to buy one for sure.
Yeah, you can get them on Amazon for like $30, can't you?
Yes.
And then you get the cleaning solution, and you put it in, and not only does it dislodge all of the grime, but it I don't know how it shines it up, but it makes them it brings back some of the original luster, doesn't it? Like my wife uses it for all her rings and jewelry and stuff. But yeah, I'm always putting, if I've bought a used watch, always detach the bracelet from the head of the watch, throw it in the ultrasonic, and it gets rid of all of the grime, and then just a little bit of a toothbrush. And honestly, it does it in what, like 90 seconds, Steve? It's super quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you don't have to buy an expensive one. I think even the cheapest one will do it, and you just buy the solution. So yeah, ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. don't put the watch head in there because it will. It's
Destroy it.
yeah. I think it's like a concentrated kind of.
Well,
So,
it's not the solution; it's the energy in the ultrasound. Trust me on this.
the notion of the ocean, not the.
I'm not going to go into the physics of ultrasound, but there's a very good reason why it'll clean patina off silver, and it ain't the solvent. That's just a carry.
Right.
Have a look. Let's see who else we've got.
Sam, I was just going to say on the subject of must owns, digital calipers as well.
Oh
yeah.
I think should own some of these. Especially if you're thinking about moving off of a bracelet and onto a like, let's say, a leather strap. We like to think in like absolutes, right? So like my watch is 19 millimeter lugs, and this is a 19 millimeter band, and it's going to fit. But like, if you own something like this, you will quickly see that like the measurements that like manufacturers use, it'll be 19.2 millimeters, or it'll be a 20 millimeter, and it's actually 19.8. And like you'll buy a 20 millimeter strap, and it's more like 21 millimeters. So like this is a great tool to have because it is much more inexact than we would like to think with aftermarket straps. So please buy one for $10 when you buy that ultrasonic cleaner on Amazon.
Yeah, maybe we should have done a watch. Maybe we'll do that next episode. Watch collectors, not EDC, but a watch collector's toolkit, maybe.
Accessories, yeah.
We should also then, if you do have bracelets and you value the look of the clasp, talk about nail polish. Nail polish.
Anybody else that does this, but you do it, don't you? I don't know anybody that does this.
A single coat of nail polish or nail varnish on the clasp will stop it getting scratched.
Really?
Yeah, because it's there. It's a strong film that the first thing that's going to get scratched is the nail varnish, and if you scratch it too much, then you just use a bit of nail polish remover and take it off and do it again. I got this advice. I got this advice from a watch collector in Dubai when I went to Dubai Watch Week last year. And it's just like Kiss Glass Shine nail varnish is the one he recommended. It's solvent-ish based, so they all are, but it'll leave a clear non-color film on your clasp, and just remove it with nail polish remover, and guess what? Because I'm a desk diver, I can destroy the aesthetics of a clasp in seconds.
Well, handy tip that was.
Yeah, try at your own risk, because if you spill that nail,
don't spill it. And you might get embarrassed asking your wife, who's far more experienced with nail varnish than you are, to actually apply it to the clasp. But okay.
Or if you've got a friend that's a goth.
Yeah.
So we've got so many questions coming through. I mean, we thought this was going to be a bit of a dry one, the old bracelets, but we've lit a fire here. So McLovin says smooth, not jingly jangly. Sometimes there is a little bit of a like that SKX one is like jangly. It's like a cat with a bell on its neck, but on its collar. But I think sometimes I like a jangly one. But you're right. If you're not expecting, if it's an expensive watch, you don't want it to have like the little bit of the sideways jangle. Let's see who we've got here. Let's see here. Studio Underdog and Omega Bond Milanese are both comfortable and a very similar fit. That says Colin. Treble says it's the Mark XX. It's a nice feeling bracelet. Okay, so that must be the one
that the IWC Ease Exchange.
Yeah. And then, Glitter Neurosis says Long Island Watch, Citizen Diver, J-Style fit and finish match are great and super on the wrist. Okay. Let's see who we've got here. Robert's just saying always buy with the bracelet. And you can get the strap later. I made this mistake with Tudor with the Black Bay 58. I mean, that was brutal. That bracelet afterwards. trying to buy the Black Bay 58 bracelet after. It was like $800 or something, and it was only an extra $300, I think, to get it with the watch. That actually put me off. That actually ruined the watch for me. Ended up selling it. Let's see. It's Brian. I agree, Mark. I needed a quality OEM bracelet or rubber. Leather is out for me, but I do some aftermarket rubber straps. Okay, awesome. FKM is tough to beat comfort-wise. Mark, you're still not loving the FKM, are you? Or the chemical composition, is it that you're not feeling?
I'm still trying to work out if the European Union is going to make FKM a thing of the past because of the PFAS that may or may not be in the rubber. I've got nothing against FKM. I like it. I find it comfortable. I'm just worried that the European Union may ban it. So buy it whilst you can.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Let's have a look.
I think Boracic Time at the bottom is taking the mick, but I like his style.
Dishwashers, power showers, and washing machines, special equipment.
You can also use clean water, a drop of washing up liquid, and a toothbrush if you want to clean a bracelet. It's a bit more hassle.
But it doesn't give you the shine. Like, I think an ultrasonic really gives you that shine. It really gives like a nice luster to it. So let's. It
depends whether you're going for a restoration or a removal of sunscreen / wrist cheese. It's just a matter of what your goal is.
Let's have a look. So Loom Love says 7.5-inch wrist, but I have had my Snowflake for 4 years and the bracelet fits perfectly. And I like the short clasp without unnecessary holes or parts to maintain the minimalist aspect of the reference. I had 2 Grand Seikos and I actually didn't. I wish it did have micro adjust, but the spring drive was the one that it was too top heavy, the actual head of the watch. But I didn't mind the bracelets, except for the fact that they are like the 2 that I had, massive scratch magnets. This Braymont, hasn't scratched hardly anything, which is I don't know what they do with it. Maybe also is it Zin and Damasco that do like their ice hardened steel or something? Mm-hmm. Is that less scratch?
Tegamented, steel. They only do that on the bezel. Tegamented.
Yeah, but don't they ice hardened bracelets?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Here's a question for you, and for the panel and the chat. I know there's a lot of Casio G-Shock fans out there, and we were talking about Pete saying he prefers rubber straps. So most G-Shocks come on rubber, but there are the metal G-Shocks. Now, how do people feel about the metal G-Shocks? Are they sort of like, do they come up to standard as a sort of like a unique feeling watch, on the wrist? Do they feel the bracelets feel robust and really, really worth the money? Because they cost a lot of money, don't they?
Well, I've got the metal square, and that I think actually a few people are commenting on the IWC. It might be the same system, and it's actually the same on my Garmin, where you adjust it. There's pins, there's spring bars in to adjust the bracelet, the links, so you push them out. I find them quite comfy, but yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different G-Shock ones. They even do, some of their ones have a plastic inner, don't they? They're a metal bracelet, but they have like a plastic inner.
Right, okay.
On your wrist, some of them. But yeah, I've had no problem. I'm trying to think. I've had that metal square. I'm trying to think if I've had another G-Shock that's got a metal bracelet. I don't think I have. I think they've all been. I've had ones that are links, but the actual bracelet itself is resin, and the links are resin. The bracelet is resin, but it looks like it's a bracelet.
I think there was another thing we've not talked about,
green.
And there were some comments earlier on about if you have an extreme wrist size, you may not get a bracelet that can fit your wrist. So
or very small. Yeah,
either very large or very small. You can just run out of links, and the clasp can be too long. Or if you've got a big wrist, you may not just ever get that thing to fit because there aren't enough links and adjustment there to make it fit. But if you're in the sort of 6 to 8 inch wrist size, you should hopefully get something to fit, but you may not. So that's another thing to think about.
Yeah, in fact, I just remembered, Thomas, I have had 2 other G-Shocks that had metal bracelets, and somebody else made a comment further up about if you buy them from Japan or whatever, sometimes you don't get all the links, and 2 of them, they wouldn't fit me because the
Really?
links had been taken out, and I had to buy links additional, so I have had 2 other ones. But yeah, that Kith tag that I bought for my wife, every single link was, even though it's a child-sized watch, she took out every single link to get it to fit her. And I used to work with somebody, and she wore the Starbucks Rolex, and it was hanging off her wrist because she'd taken every single possible link out. It couldn't go any smaller.
Really?
But still too
Wow.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, and it can happen even with watches that are ostensibly for women. So a friend of mine had it was a small Rolex, and she couldn't get the bracelet small enough for her wrist.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
genius,
what's supposed to be for smaller wrists. So it can be a very tricky one, and it's probably the biggest benefit of a strap is that you can get a short strap from most places, and worst comes to the worst, you can get a hole punch. And
Yeah,
I've done that.
absolutely.
I've done that on watches. I've got a hole punch because straps are always too long for me, because although I've got a flat wrist and can take a big watch, it's not that big in diameter. So straps are almost always too long, and the holes don't go small enough. And I have to cut the end off because it's too long and starts poking up this side. So, yeah, but it does make you wonder. And I know we're going off topic, but if the average wrist size is 7 inches, why do most straps go to 9 or 10?
Yeah.
Or Oris, the Oris Aquis. It was, the first generation. It was rumored that the straps in the US were longer than the straps in Europe, just to deal with the fact that rumored. I was never able to prove it, but I've cut my Oris rubber strap twice, and now I'm just thinking, okay, the tang end, I'm just going to cut an inch off it because I can't. It's too long, so it actually wraps around my wrist and under the watch head. That's how long that stupid strap is.
Wow. Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. Yeah, so Bill's actually saying that he's got an 8.5 inch wrist, 8.25 inch wrist, and then
Peter 2704. Just been long enough.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the biggest downsides of bracelets is your wrist too big for the bracelet that's on the watch.
Yeah, and then so Darren's saying he's got 6 G-Shocks, have 3 from IFL watches. I love IFL watches. 2 on the metal and 1 on the rubber, all wear well. G-Shock have just released the Casio, haven't they? But in a version that's like $6,000. Have you seen that with the metal? They put a metal bracelet on that one. The the Casio one, they've basically done like an MRG version of it, and I think it's like, here we go. I think it's like 5,000. Let me just show you. It's like $4,800 on the bracelet using that titanium. I need to get one of these like ridiculous. I'd get the square, but I need to get one of these ridiculous MRGs. Because I have seen.
Does it make all that difference? Do you think, being metal? Does it feel weightier? Does it feel better?
Yeah. They use it. The actual. I mean, this is the one that I absolutely love, but they've used different grades of titanium in the construction and stuff, so I think that's how they justify the price. Let's have a look. let's have somebody's asking a question here. So Eddie says, I'm really torn between the G-Shock 5610 or the 5000U. I would buy the 5000U if it was me. In fact, that might be my next. If I buy another square, it might be that one, because I think the 5000U is actually has everything. It's like the perfect sweet spot of. It's got the atomic time. It's got the solar, all of that jazz. But it still looks like it's like a stealth wealth one. It's still got the resin on the outer. Okay, awesome. Okay, have a look.
So, if anyone wants to put in the chat, what is your favorite bracelet?
Yeah, that's a good way to finish.
That's a good one to end on, Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah. What is your favorite bracelet?
Well, do you want the panel to start?
Yeah,
well, we'll tell you,
panel.
What your favorite bracelet is, and we'll tell you if you're wrong or not.
Well, I know I'm wrong because I'm going to say the Seamaster 300 SMP.
That's not wrong, Mark. That's cool.
If you like it.
That's cool. Yeah, if you like it. That's cool.
If you like it, you wear it. Yeah, because I know nobody else is going to.
No, I tell you what.
Do you have a favorite?
There's more people wearing that bracelet than probably a lot of other watches, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 300 is so popular.
And I would say that if you see the titanium tantalum version of that bracelet, that's a super cool bracelet.
Yeah.
I think my pick would be the. And I hate to go with such a boring selection, but I mean the Rolex Oyster is just so damn good, and it's one of the bracelets that it's so good that you almost second guess yourself taking it off to put on an aftermarket strap, and like on the watches that I have where it has the Oyster bracelet, I pretty much just always leave it on the Oyster because it's just so good. It's so comfortable to wear. It's really hard to beat. So I hate to give such a boring pick, but that's my pick.
Well, it's the benchmark, isn't it, Stephen? It's been copied by so many brands. So many brands come out with a Oyster copy, when they release a watch. It's just the benchmark is the Oyster, I think. Yeah. Mine, I would be a Beads of Rice, I think. I love Beads of Rice. It's this watch. The old Seamasters, the Doxers, I just love Beads of Rice bracelets, yeah. So
I think I would go with. I think the Rolex Jubilee could be the best bracelet that I've ever owned on a watch. I think it's amazing. But absolutely. I will also go with the going down the going sort of more affordable. I would say the Razor Wire Uncle Seiko. The only thing with the Razor Wire is that it doesn't suit every watch. It's not like a ubiquitous. You can have it on most watches. It does have a very specific look to it. That's the only thing. But okay, let's go through here. So Dylan says the Oyster with polished center links on my Daytona is the greatest bracelet I've ever worn. So we've got one. Another one for Rolex Oyster. Mark says Bomber Mercier, wearing it now. Do you know what, Mark? Does any Bomber Mercier? I hardly hear of anyone actually other than Mark. So thanks for doing that. But I've never owned one. I don't know anybody else that's owned a Bomber Mercier.
No, my brother owned one when I was a teenager, but I haven't seen them. I mean, I saw their standard Watches and Wonders, but they've been totally off the radar for me. I don't see many shops stocking them. Totally off the radar brand.
Yeah. I think it's Swatch, isn't it, Bomber Mercier? Is it?
No.
No. Is it Richemont or something?
Aren't they independent?
No. I don't think so.
I'm not too sure.
Okay, so we've got Bomber Mercier. We've got Peter with his Razor Wire. Von Krul says the PRX quartz. I think the PRX is a good bracelet.
Yeah.
And then anything with a dramatic taper from Lyndon there. Bobby says Vacheron Overseas. Brian
Yeah.
says, I agree with
Love
Sam.
the overseas, Bobby.
No, then Chris J says Tudor 5 length. And then let's have a look here. Frederick Constant. So Vince says, my first watch, Frederick Constant. Love the bracelet.
Oh, it is Richemont. Okay.
Oh, Richemont, Bomb and Messier. Yeah, okay. So I got it wrong. It's cool. Awesome. Let's see if we've got any. Yeah, so people are saying it's heard that the 12 bracelet is very comfortable.
And the 12X with the micro adjust on the clasp should be very good too.
Yeah, I like the on the fly micro adjust of the Christopher Ward, and of course I haven't mentioned the Jack Mason. Their Jubilee with the on the fly micro adjust is really nice as well. There's actually, if you're looking for a micro adjust that has a lot of travel to it, the Jack Mason, and then also the Citizen one, but the way that the Jack Mason have incorporated the micro adjust in the class, also that Zelos had micro adjust on the clasp, but I thought was really good. That Zelos bracelet was really good. Although I wasn't crazy about the actual design of the watch, but the bracelet was solid. Awesome. Well, we've gone over. God, thank you so much, everyone, for being so active in the comments section.
Yep.
Yeah, and big thanks to the panel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care. See you soon.